And now I wanted to talk a little about leveling and questing. Well, this is the pretty standard part of the game. You level up, you become more powerful, you have 3 skill trees to invest point into, and you get new abilities every single level. You just have to go back to your trainer, get your abilities. You can actually check which abilities you get, which is a good thing. You just press P, shows the abilities that you still gotta learn. Certain quests, 80% of them will have a bonus portion to it, which includes the slaughter of what sometimes can be considered a ridiculous amount of NPCs for no reasons. Like I've mentioned before, for a story-driven MMO, this game has a lot of the Kill 10 Boars quest. And unfortunately, in some occasions, it is actually... it's disappointing because, I mean, you can get really immersed into the world and you're like really doing this epic storyline and this quest and, oh, you gotta do it here, gotta do this surgical strike here, gotta do this thing there. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, and by the way, while you're there, why don't you go ahead and just kill 50 people? For no reason, just kill 50 of them. And you're like, what? It makes no sense. Like, for instance, I was, the very first time I was surprised by this is because, okay, so I'm playing a Jedi Counselor. And I'm a sage. I'm in the final stages of Coruscant. And they're like, why don't you go ahead and kill 45 Justicars? And I was like, kill 45 human beings, but I'm a Jedi. I'm supposed to protect people, not mindlessly slaughter them. So yeah, there's several quests that really push the limits of what's acceptable in regards to killing stuff, and it's just, I don't know, it kind of breaks the immersion a lot. As a matter of fact, I even typed something here that says, in time you will learn to fear the word bonus, because you begin to associate it with tedious tasks such as going back to planets you already visited simply to destroy hundreds of NPCs. These quests are optional, however, like a lot of things in the game. Like, you don't have to do every single quest. The only thing that you really should do is your class storyline, and you're not even forced into doing that. You can just level by PvP or space combat if you prefer. Thing is, this is a story-driven MMO. I mean, it's a less enjoyable experience if you just spam space missions or if you just do PvP. There's so much story to go through. The problem is, again, it's like sometimes you'll just be going on and you're like really immersed into the game, you're doing your story thing, and you're like, gotta go here, gotta do this, gotta do that. All of a sudden, you get to the place where you're going, you kill something because you need to kill it in order to continue to proceed, and you see the word bonus pop up and you're like, no! Why? Like, you know, like Darth Vader, like, no! You know, that epic no? Yeah, that's usually what you will make at a certain point in the game, because it's like, man, really? Why do I gotta kill 50 of these things for no reason? It's like, oh, it's bonus. Bonus what? Bonus mindless slaughter? Yeah, I'm not a big fan of those. I mean, the quests themselves are great, but some of the bonus content really does not belong in a story-driven MMO, in my opinion. But that could be just me, or whatever. Also, the other thing is, if you're a completionist like me, I'm a completionist. I like to do everything in a planet before I actually leave. What's going to happen is, by the time you reach something like level 25, you're going to be out leveling most of your content, and the only thing that will actually feel like a challenge will be heroics. There's heroic quests as well in the game that you can do, and you can actually repeat them, but I mean, if you're a completionist, if you want to do every single quest and every single planet, you will out-level your content pretty soon in the game. I'm not saying this is a bad thing or a good thing. This happens with a lot of MMOs, though. It's not really something that... I'm not saying that it's a good or bad thing, is what I'm saying. It's not, I'm not criticizing that. It happens with a lot of MMOs. I just thought I should mention it. Leveling is pretty much standard, and it's easy, and you can achieve it solo 0 to 50. Your class quest, you should always be able to do your class quests without any outside assistance. Apart from maybe the Jedi Guardian one, I've heard that one is a doozy. I've been there actually helping someone doing it. And let's just say I was a little bit surprised when all of a sudden I see 15 Emperors coming out of the woodwork. And I'm like, what the fuck? 15 Emperors? You know? So yeah. Next thing I want to talk about, flashpoints and operations. These are basically your dungeons and raids from other MMOs. Flashpoints will have their own dialogue options and dark and light side choices. In some occasions, these choices will actually dictate the outcome of the flashpoint, taking you to different areas. But in most cases that I've noticed, they're just there to give you light side and dark side choice. I mean, I've noticed that in Black Talon, it kind of changes the instance a little bit. But in most other instances, everything remains pretty much the same regardless of your choice. The only thing that really changes is you get light side, you get dark side, whatever. You kill someone, you don't kill someone, it doesn't really matter all that much. For these instances, you have the usual Holy Trinity, the usual suspects. You get your tanks, you get your healers, you get your DPS. In the lower level ones, your healers can actually do some damage as well, but I'm not sure how it works in the higher level ones. Highly doubt it. I've been in a couple of instances myself healing where I was completely unable to do damage. I've been in others where I was fine doing damage and healing, so whatever. So yeah, I mean, flashpoints and operations are pretty standard stuff, just like you'd find in any other game. Obviously you have the dialogues and you have the epic storyline, and some of these instances are really, really good because they really fit well in the Star Wars universe and the storyline. Darth Revan, all that kind of stuff, it's cool. So yeah, in flashpoints and operations, there's not really a lot to be said. They follow the norm. They're not incredibly exceptional apart from the point that they have stories, they have cutscenes, they have all this other stuff that other MMOs don't usually have. So yeah, they're pretty cool. Not a whole lot to say. I like doing flashpoints. One of my favorite things to do flashpoints, because I mean it was one of my favorite things to do back in World of Warcraft. I used to love instances above anything else, and here I like flashpoints a whole lot, but I also like questing here, so I'm kind of divided between questing, flashpoints. So flashpoints is actually a really good thing. Operations, haven't done them, can't say all that much about them, but they pretty much look like standard raids from what I've seen in Hengist's videos and so forth. So yeah. Next up, let's talk about companions and crafting skills. So each class is going to get each base class, not advanced class. Whenever I say each class, I mean the base class. Like for instance, your Jedi, what's he called? The Jedi, I don't know which is the name of the basic melee Jedi. That's a good question. But anyways, the Jedi can evolve into a Guardian or a Sentinel. So when I say class, I'm talking about the base class, the Jedi. Like the Smuggler can evolve into a Scoundrel or a Gunslinger. So basically what I mean to say is when I'm talking about companions, I'm talking about for the Smuggler class, the one that comes below it, because Gunslinger and Scoundrel get the exact same companion. So each class will get 5 unique companions. Usually they will be a mix of DPS, healers, and tanks, which will allow you to choose whatever playstyle you prefer. Team up with a companion that complements your weaknesses, obviously. Like for instance, for my Scoundrel, I usually run around with either Corso Riggs or Bodar because they're tanks. And as a Scoundrel, you usually are required to be behind your target most of the time so that you can use Backblast. And the only real character that gives you that option is the tank, because he takes the damage for you, which means you can circle around back, shoot him in the face. Well, not in the face, in the back of the head, but whatever. So yeah, each class will get 5 of those companions. The fact that you can craft while you're questing is a unique feature, I think. Not sure, but I think that SWTOR has kind of innovated a lot in that aspect, in the crafting side of things. And I really enjoy it because it's like, okay, so I got my 5 companions. Obviously, early in the game is not as good because you don't have as many companions. You will get companions as you progress in the game. But later on in the game, it's like, okay, I want this companion to level with me. All of these other guys, they need to be making me money. They need to be crafting. They need to be on missions. They need to be doing other stuff. And you can basically send them like, oh, send them on missions to get, scavenging materials. Send them on missions to get underworld trading goods. Send them on diplomatic missions. Send them on missions that basically will give you stuff. And then they come back and then you send them again. So yeah, it's pretty good. The companions will do all your crafting and gathering for you. You don't actually ever have to just stand there and craft stuff. It's just they go out and they do your things. They will get you your materials, and in certain professions they will even get you credits, item upgrades, and companion gifts. However, obviously they're unavailable when you send them out on missions. Like for instance, if I were to send Corso rigs on a mission, I wouldn't have my regular tank to play with on my smuggler. So it's just something that you gotta keep in mind. You gotta balance it out. You gotta like, okay, this guy goes out, this guy stays, so that I have something to do my quests with. So yeah. You can have a grand total of only 1 crafting profession and 2 gathering or mission professions. So it's like you can have 3 professions total. 2 of them will be gathering and or missions. 1 of them can be crafting. Or if you want to, you can have just 3 gathering and missions and have no crafting skills whatsoever. Personally, my personal advice, get treasure hunting and slicing, and then get whatever craft profession you want. That's the way I roll, because treasure hunting and slicing will usually, well, treasure hunting will provide you with green items, which might be an upgrade. Sometimes you will even get epics and orange items. They can either be an upgrade for your character, or if they're not an upgrade, just sell it, make a buck out of it. Same thing with slicing. Slicing just brings you all this money in, and it will actually help you craft. Some people will still prefer to do scavenging and whatnot. I'm not here to discuss that. It's just an option. I personally, most effective way for me, treasure hunting, slicing, cyber tech. That's the way I roll, and that's probably the way I'm going to roll for just about all my characters, so whatever. Your choice. Still, once again, it's like, it's good that you don't have to do it yourself, like, oh, I got to stand here and craft for half an hour. No, just send your companion, go do something else. Affection levels, which I've mentioned before, they play a part in the chance of mission success, crafted item quality, and open up your companion quest lines and romance options. Romance options only for humanoids, though. You can't have sex with a Mon Calamari. Sorry, too bad. Oh yeah, but you can do it with Twi'lek. So did I say humans? I meant humanoids if I said humans. So anyways, just saying, the affection level of your companion is something that you got to keep in mind when you send out people, because the more affection they have for you, the more likely they will be successful in their missions, and if they're crafting, the more likely they will be to craft exceptional items and, you know, the sorts. So the other thing is, obviously, they open up your companion quest lines. Each companion will have like its own unique quest line that will involve you doing quests with them. Something that I've noticed with this though is that usually, to me at least, it seems that I was getting their quest lines really late in the game. Like I'd be level 40 doing level 25 missions for my companions. I don't know, maybe they could ease up on the way you gain affection with your companion. I don't know. Maybe it's just intended that you pick one companion and use that companion throughout the whole game. I don't know if that's the point or not, but either way, that's the way it rolls. Companions will automatically level up at the same rate as you, even if you don't use them. However, you are required to gear them up in order for them to be effective. So if you're switching companions all the time, you gotta have a whole bunch of gear sets for them. So it's like, suppose I'm using Corso rigs all the time. So Corso rigs should always be geared up because I'm getting gear for him with my quests and whatnot. However, if all of a sudden, oh, now I want to use Risha, yeah, you're gonna have to gear her up. She's not gonna have the best gear or whatever. It all depends on how you keep your companions up to date. So try to do a little bit of inventory management and, you know, kit your people up just to make sure that if you ever need to use them, that you have the gear. So I'm just saying. Companions will have their own ability bar, and in some situations you'll have to tamper with it to turn off specific abilities or switch stances. Like for instance, if you are in a heroic situation and you need to use CC, you need to manually go to your companions and tell them, oh, don't use that AoE grenade that you like using so much, and actually just use single target abilities. So yeah, you have to kind of do a little bit of micromanagement there. In the start, like at the very launch, your companions would usually not even remember your changes in their bars, which was ridiculously annoying, but I believe that that's actually fixed now. At least it looked fixed last time I checked. So yeah, companions, they're cool, they're awesome, but you gotta keep updating their gear and stuff. So, and they bring this really unique aspect to the game that not a lot of MMOs do. They've done it before, but not in a lot of MMOs. It's like you're a hunter and you have your pet. It's kind of the same thing, but everyone has their own pets. It makes the grind more bearable as well. Let's put it like that. So those are companions. I wanted to address mounts for a little bit here, but mounts is not really something I want to get too much into. it's just more of a little rant that I have. So for starters, you only have ground mounts. That's a good thing. I fully approve this. You should only have ground mounts. I am completely against flying mounts simply because you can basically go anywhere you want with a flying mount, bypass a whole bunch of content. The world feels bigger if you're always on a ground mount. But in my opinion, then the thing comes with the fact that on most locations that you're going to be in, only hover bikes make sense. Okay? Only hover bikes actually make, sense from a logical standpoint. Who is going to ride a speeder bike in a space station? You'll crash the fucking thing, trash the space station, and kill everyone. Because speeder bikes are supposed to just go like really, really fast, but you'll see people in speeder bikes in the space station, and to me, makes no sense. I'm sorry, it just makes no sense. And I have a speeder bike too, because all of the hover bikes for level 40 are terrible. They look like ass. I'm sorry. But for level 50, I'm most likely going to get something that is not a speeder bike. But anyways, I mean, speeder bikes don't make much sense as mounts when you get to a space station. It kind of breaks the immersion a lot. And if a speeder bike breaks the immersion, how do you feel when you see an actual speeder in a space station? One of those big ass cars, anti-gravity cars that you got in Star Wars. It makes no sense. It honestly makes no sense. Like, I can actually make enough money to buy the 1 million something because got slicing, got treasure hunting. I'm making shit tons of money. I would have no problem whatsoever purchasing that vehicle, but I'm not going to do so simply because I don't like it. I don't think it makes any sense. And whenever I see someone in one of those ridiculously large speeders inside the space station, I'm like, oh my god. Immersion breaking much? It just makes no sense. I'm sorry. I do not like the mounts in SWTOR at all. Most of the mount options aren't even that appealing to begin with. And really, the only real mounts that I would say that I like are the simpler mounts. Like the hover bikes and stuff. Those make sense. More than a hover bike, like a speeder bike, a speeder, whatever. It kind of breaks the immersion for me. But I've been speaking for over an hour now, so I guess it's time to reach the conclusion of all this. Basically, in all its essence, what is SWTOR? SWTOR is, like I've actually mentioned previously, it is a World of Warcraft based MMO because most of the mechanics and stuff will work just like World of Warcraft. There's a couple of switches here and there, like the reactive skills and the push skills, the stuff that messes with your location in the game, like pushing someone away or whatever. Those kind of have their own set of mechanics, but mostly it is very similar to World of Warcraft. Then you have that Mass Effect option dialogues and stuff, which is really, really cool. And you just put the Star Wars skin on top of all that, and that is SWTOR. Is it a good game? Yes. It is a good game. I like playing it. I enjoy myself while I'm playing SWTOR. I intend to continue to play SWTOR for some time. Is it groundbreaking? No. It picks up stuff that has already been proven to work and improves upon that. It basically, if it stands where it stands, it is because it is standing on the shoulders of giants that came before it. And make no mistake, I don't criticize that at all. I just wanted a little bit more of innovation, which I believe games like Guild Wars 2 or Terra might bring. And notice that I say might bring, because I will reserve my judgment until I can actually play those games. But in the meantime, SWTOR is a really nice game. I think it's a very nice game. It's very story driven. It's just not for people who enjoy grinding, in my opinion. It's just the wrong game. Like, if you plan to just get on SWTOR, boost up to level 50, and not even care about the story, I don't think this game is for you. If, however, you plan on enjoying the storyline, enjoying the leveling process, and when you get to level 50, do all the other normal MMO stuff, it is the game for you. I like SWTOR, and I advise anyone who thinks that they would like SWTOR to try it out, because you will most likely enjoy it. And it is a good game in the end. It's just had a lot of issues simply because it was released too early. Too early. Electronic Arts should not have pushed this release date upon BioWare. because the game was released a lot earlier than it should have. It could have been a lot more polished. The engine still suffers from a lot of optimization issues. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you guys have enjoyed this huge ass review, which the one I was actually planning on doing was actually a lot more in depth than this one. It was gonna take it was probably gonna take me like 3 hours to do, but yeah, I've kind of condensed it down a little bit for you guys. So hope you guys have enjoyed it. Let me know, comments, like, dislike, whatever you want. Hate me for life for my opinion if that is what you want. And I will see you guys in the next one.